Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Boju. Wow, I'm almost at 2 digits of Wynncraft item review. Anyway, in this episode, I'm covering yet again a bow. This time, Divzer. Divzer's gotten quite a lot of attention in 1.20 because it got a couple nerfs in it, and to most people, they seem pretty harsh at first. But I kind of want to disprove that and show that Divzer is still very much good and very much a very powerful bow. Well, with that said, let's get right into the review. So, the stats of Divzer. As you may know, Divzer is the Thunder Mythic for Archer. And as Thunder Mythics generally go, the item design is usually slightly glassier than most. And that is definitely apparent for Divzer. It's kind of like comparable to Cataclysm, maybe, of course, slightly less extreme than Cataclysm. But its stats are, it supports a ton of lifesteal, it has over 1,000 lifesteal at most, and it has a ton of mana steal. 8 mana steal at most. So, it's a spell steal weapon. But looking at its stats, it's got a ton. It's got minus 550 agility, which totally locks you out of Thunder, Water, Air. Totally locks you out of any sort of air using builds. It's also got negative 39 defense, and this is the thing that people complained about a lot, because in 1.19, you could run Divzer, Thunder, Water, Fire just as fine, and you would have like maybe 60 defense or so, maybe more if you wanted to go even more tanky. Of course, while having insane damage that Divzer does have. But in 1.20, they nerfed the Divzer's defense stats so that it does have some negative defense, but because it's only 39, you're still able to just fine use Thunder, Water, Fire, and it doesn't completely lock you out of Thunder, Water, Fire, and tanky builds. So with a more glassy Thunder, Water, Fire build, you're going to end up having about 20-30 defense, while with a more tankier one, you could even get, well, like 60 defense. So, totally not the end of the world as some people may think. It's also got powder slots, 3 powder slots, so nothing insane in that. It's got some flavor stats in the sense of negative 400% water and fire damage, but it's not like going to powder Divzer with fire and water anyway, so that's fine, doesn't really matter. Now, Divzer's gameplay is very much comparable to any other spell steal archer weapon with spell spam potential. Because it's got so much mana steal and also access to chain lightning, you don't really need to worry about mana being an issue for most good builds. So you're totally fine just spamming spells as much as possible. There's not too much to talk about in the gameplay section. It's got insane damage with great spammability. Of course, it is slightly glassy because of, the negative defense and agility, but doesn't mean you're gonna be just a total glass cannon. It does have some tank. Also, keep in mind that you can increase your survivability quite a lot just by slapping on Nighthawk onto your build, and that's totally fine because of the fact that you have so much mana steal provided by the weapon itself, so it's not like you'll run out of mana even if you slap on Nighthawk. So, as with most weapons, Divzer has 2 different archetypes that work well with it. There's Earth, Thunder, Water, as well as Thunder, Water, Fire. Out of those 2, as you may have guessed, Earth, Thunder, Water is of course the worst one. Thunder, Water, Fire is by far the best one. In terms of Thunder, Water, Fire builds, you're able to get about 50k arrow storms without Nighthawk and about 38k arrow storms with Nighthawk because of the damage penalty that comes with Nighthawk. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use Nighthawk because of course it's got way higher potential DPS. With Earth, Thunder, Water, you can get slightly more damage, but it's really not worth it, especially for the fact that you don't really get any defense, because with Thunder, Water, Fire, you can build Divzer to be, normal Thunder, Water, Fire with 60 defense before the 40 defense reduction, so you'd have 20 defense. But you can also build it more, so you can have it up with about 60-50 defense if you build slightly more tanky. There's definitely tankier Thunder, Water, Fire Divzer options. That's about it for the meta. Divzer is very straightforward to talk about. To conclude, Divzer is still very good. It's not quite as OP as in 1.19, but the negative 39 defense isn't as bad as some people would think. It's a very easy weapon to use because of how good it is, and also decently fun. I would recommend it if you want to try some Spellsteal Archer. So yeah, that's about it for the review. Thanks for watching, and of course make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I do read all comments, and I would like to hear people's recommendations for what I should review next. That's about it. See ya.